Right, from there we move on to our trending topics. All right, first up, #Diepsloot. And this, of course, with those vigilante killings that took place in Diepsloot, not for the first time. And again, you know, the psychosocial issues in that part of the world, the socioeconomic issues as well. Incidentally, I drove past Diepsloot yesterday and there's a lot going on. But many people talking about how things have really degenerated, continue to do so, some would say. And of course, also how this is now spilled over into schools, as I think the Sowetan is running with this morning, and we'll show you that when we get to the newspapers.
Yeah, indeed. So that's the Diepsloot. It has been since this weekend trending, and it's a horrific story. It really is. All right, let's move on to Luli House now. And this was a story that got everybody talking. Luli House, the sheriff of the High Court, descended on the ANC's headquarters, and there was that picture that was being shared by everybody, that you don't really necessarily want to see that, the sheriff of the court outside of the ANC's headquarters and in search of assets. That's what they were saying. So ANC's headquarters, it was a hub of activity, certainly yesterday when that sheriff arrived. Events company, this is what the basis of the story is, Uzolweni Investments attached the party's accounts and other physical assets in an effort to recover more than 100 million rand. Ezolweni said that the writ of execution was served on the ANC and that the sheriff had subsequently attached the party's bank accounts and assets. So they were denied access, as far as I'm aware. But that was what unfolded yesterday. So not a nice way to start a Monday morning.
Not a nice way. No surprises. I think that story was in the papers last week. So it was really a question of when. So yesterday was that when.
And then this all dates back to the 2019 elections. Apparently, that's what they were saying. That this is from their work.
We'll see how that one continues to unfold. Moving along to the next one. My heart sings. Germaine Craig.
Man, this took me by a huge surprise, and the whole of the country.
Took everyone by surprise.
Wow. Such a good guy.
This is such a sad one. And Germaine, you know, in the prime of his life.
Yeah, 47 years old. I mean, really going to gym, doing what we love to do. And then, you know, what the story is saying is that he suffered a heart attack, and that was that. I mean, goodness gracious me, you know. And I mean, just, you know, for those that may not know who Germaine is, but I mean, he was obviously, you know, from the newspaper years and doing exceptionally well in journalism. But I think his real sort of springboard was during the 2010 World Cup.
Yeah.
And I mean, Germaine was everywhere. He really was at that time Danny Jordan's right-hand man. If you wanted anything, Germaine was the man that you went through. He was everywhere and with a big smile on his face. And he was just such an incredible character to have around, and a real asset to any campaign, as well as even, I mean, working on SA Tourism and many other...
the Nelson Mandela Foundation, the list is endless. And he continued to do that. And, you know, I spoke to Germaine at the Derby a few weeks ago. And I asked him, you know, Germaine, what are you up to these days? And he's like, I'm doing a bit of this, that, and everything.
Bit of that.
So
dabbling everything.
And you know, this is what makes it so surreal, because here you have someone who's just, you know, in good shape, bouncing off the walls, and boom.
Yeah. Doing something that's meant to keep you healthy.
Nobody saw this coming. Our sincere condolences to Germaine's family, Michelle and the boys, and of course the extended family, and you know, also to Jeffrey Zikali's family.
Indeed.
Because it's just absolutely devastating.
So the story with Jeffrey Zikali, now that's obviously being a real tragedy. He lost his life in a hijacking in KwaZulu-Natal, and I mean, that is something you don't want. This is a picture taken many, many years ago, and somebody was actually saying that this was still his profile picture that he would leave on his social media. I mean, I think he was filling in for Vuyo. He was doing sports at the time, and I mean, this was many, many years ago. I can't pinpoint a year to it, but I can tell you when we were broadcasting from the foyer, this was a good 10, 12 years ago at least, but really, really sad, I must say. It's a very, very sad thing to have lost both of these
Condolences to both families.
Yeah, indeed.
Right, let's move on to Ten Hag. This is, of course, the mighty Man United's Erik Ten Hag. So the story is that Ten Hag has lost half of the dressing room, and Man United's problems continue on and off the field, it would seem. But the faithful talking about what is going on. Players somehow suspected of sabotaging the manager once more, and some people were looking at the success rates of managers post the Sir Alex Ferguson years, and of the managers that have come and gone through the theatre of dreams. It seems as though Erik Ten Hag has been most successful, but of course it seems hard times are back. With the managers and dressing rooms.
Oh, goodness me. All right, so that's Man United. And then this is a very sad one, and this is the story of Machaka Khadebe. Now, I've seen this beautiful young girl's photograph that was doing the rounds as a missing child. I mean, people were desperately looking for her as she sort of, was, if I'm not mistaken, from the Free State. And,
yes.
And then ransom was demanded from her family or her mom. And the story goes is that unfortunately her remains had been found. She's just 16 years old. And that was the biggest shock, I imagine, to the family. Her lifeless body was found by a passerby in a field near Phase 9, Bloemfontein. On the 4th of December. Machaka was last seen by her brother on the 2nd of December in their home in Rocklands in Bloemfontein. Just
very
such a sad story.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, but that's a very unfortunate story.
Well, somber in the trends this morning. That's where we'll leave it for today.